Hi there! Welcome to Pallet University. So if you've been anywhere on the Pokemon side of the internet for like the past, 2 or 3 weeks, you probably have seen everybody losing their minds about every Pokemon not being in Pokemon Sword and Shield, the new Nintendo Switch Pokemon games coming out this November. Now seemingly every Pokemon YouTuber has made a video about their opinions on this, and while I don't think this is super helpful in this case because I'm a scientist and it doesn't help to have emotions about facts. And the fact is we are not getting every Pokemon in this game. So instead of talking about my thoughts and feelings about that on this channel, we're going to be talking about some predictions and some thoughts that I have about what Pokemon may or may not be included in this game and why certain people are wrong in their predictions. The college store at Pallet University is officially open. We have great merchandise such as t-shirts, hoodies, long sleeves, tank tops, stickers, and even throw pillows featuring designs like our college font logo and our secondary slogan, "In Oak We Trust," as well as the classic Pallet University insignia. Available in a variety of colors and sizes. Links in the description. So one of my favorite YouTubers, I've been a subscriber of his since he was at anywhere from like 250 to 300,000 subscribers. Now he's significantly bigger than that, well over 700k. But Austin John Plays made a video about an algorithm, I don't think that's quite the proper use of that word, but I'll let it slide for now, of what Pokemon he thinks will be in Sword and Shield. And there were a lot of parts of it that I agreed with and a lot of parts of it that I didn't agree with. And when it comes to science, the reason science is so reliable is that when one scientist sees somebody else's experiment or somebody else's project and sees less than ideal methodologies, scientists really have a hard time not correcting those people on that. If you're that kind of person who likes to correct people a lot, like I personally am, almost to a fault, then you might have a promising career as a scientist. But like I said, there are a couple things that I thought weren't quite right with Austin John's analysis of what Pokemon were going to be in Sword and Shield, so I figured let's point it out and tell him where I think he's wrong. So first, a little bit of background. If you have not seen Austin John's video, it'll be up here in the cards, as well as probably down below in the description as well. Mostly because I want you guys to have like a frame of reference for what I'm talking about when I'm, picking his sort of argument apart. I'm just using his particular one as an example because it's the most detailed one that I was able to find. So definitely go watch his video and then come right back here to see where I think that he's wrong. So Austin John says that there's going to be 340 Pokemon from generations 1 through 7 in Sword and Shield, plus however many new Generation 8 Pokemon they introduce in Sword and Shield. I think that number's a little too, small, honestly, because if we're looking at some of the older games, the more recent of the previous generation games, that doesn't quite work. Let's take a look at the last 3 new-ish games in the Pokemon franchise. So these would be Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, Sun and Moon, and X and Y. We're excluding Oris because it's a remake and doesn't really count. It already had a predetermined set Pokedex based on just the Ho Index. So you might think, just remembering Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, that their Pokedex had the most Pokemon of all time in it, but that's actually not true. So Sun and Moon's Pokedex had 301 Pokemon, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon's had 403 Pokemon, but the Kalos Pokedex, when you combine Central, Mountain, and Coastal Kalos, had 457 Pokemon in it. And while I don't think that, it'll have that many in it, the Pokedex will have that many in it in Sword and Shield, I think it'll be in that general ballpark, anywhere from 420 to 430. So that's going to be the overall ballpark that I'm shooting for. So the first thing that I really agree with Austin John on is that all of the Kanto Pokemon are going to be in this game, plus Meltan and Melmetal. And, the reason behind that is because, one, Nintendo loves Generation 1 Pokemon. They have such a bias toward them that I feel like they'd have a really hard time not including them. But number 2 is that Let's Go is the only other Switch title right now, and it would not make sense to have the only 2 titles not connectable to each other, you know what I mean? So I think all of the Gen 1 Pokemon plus Meltan and Melmetal will be in Sword and Shield. So that by itself gives us 153 Pokemon. Also, at the time of filming this particular video, which is June 20th, there were 127 other non-Generation 1 Pokemon confirmed to be in Sword and Shield already based on Cerebi's Galar Pokedex page. You can bump this up to 129 because we already know that Mantine and Mantike are in it, and in order to evolve Mantike into Mantine, you need Remoraid and Octillery, but those haven't been technically officially confirmed yet, so we can bump that up to 129. Those two stockpiles by themselves give us a total of 282 Pokemon so far. That is definitely over half of the total Pokemon already. So we already know more than 50% of the Pokemon that are going to be in this game. So on top of that, we have 22 Pokemon that are evolutions or pre-evolutions of Pokemon from Generation 1. These Pokemon are Igglybuff, Crobat, Bellossom, Politoed, Slowking, I have to look at a list because there's so many of them, Magnezone, Tyrogue, Hitmontop, Licky Licky, Happiny, Blissey, Mime Jr., Tangrowth, Kingdra, Scizor, Smoochum, Elekid, Electivire, Magby, Magmortar, Porygon 2, and Porygon Z. That bumps the total up to 304. On top of that, we have 14 sort of counterpart Pokemon. There are a lot of Pokemon that sort of go hand in hand with one another, whether they've always just been version exclusives. If you think of like Mandibuzz and Braviary in this case, because Braviary is confirmed, but Mandibuzz so far has not been. It would just be really weird of them to include one of them without the other. This is definitely true for some of these Pokemon, but not necessarily true for others. Some of them are kind of a loose counterpart, but there's 14 that I think make sense. These Pokemon are Heracross to go with Pinsir, which is, part of the Gen 1 Pokemon coming into this game, Gligar and Gliscor, which are pretty much confirmed to be counterparts to Weavile, which is confirmed to be in the game, Houndour and Houndoom, which are loose counterparts to Electrike and Manectric, based on, just things like base stats and them both getting Mega Evolutions at the same time, as well as being version exclusives in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Miltank to go with Tauros for the same reason that Heracross went with Pinsir, Seedot, Nuzleaf, and Shiftry going with Lotad, Lombre, and Ludicolo, which are already confirmed to be in the game. Then we have Throh to go with Sawk, which is confirmed to be in the game. Vullaby and Mandibuzz to go with Rufflet and Braviary like we've already talked about, and Spritzee and Aromatisse to go with Swirlix and Slurpuff, which are already confirmed to be in the game as well. That puts us so far at a total of 318 Pokemon. I think it's pretty safe to assume that there could be anywhere from 60 to 100 new Pokemon introduced in this game, so I'm going to sort of split the difference and go with 80 for this example. So our 318 plus our 80 new ones, that gives us 398 Pokemon. And then the remainder could just be things that just sort of make sense going with, the wildlife of the UK. Things like P-Dove, Tranquil, and Unpheasant, because pigeons are kind of everywhere, especially in like big cities, things like the London-based city that we've seen in the trailers. Deer are also sort of a well-known symbol of the UK, things like the Irish elk, for example, and we don't necessarily have an elk Pokemon per se, but we do have Stantler, Deerling, and Sawsbuck that I think would make pretty welcome additions to the game as well. And I think, several species of smaller mammals, things like weasels, mongoose, smaller mammals like that are relatively common in the UK as well. So Pokemon like Weasel, Pokemon like Zangoose, and the accompanying Seviper because it's a counterpart. And there's actually a species of venomous snake in the UK, so that would make sense with that as well. So this last, 22 to 32, spaces of filler could be really anything that Game Freak wants to do with the game. It could be them adding Pokemon for purely competitive reasons. It could be Game Freak adding Pokemon to make the world more immersive, adding extra legendaries just to spice things up, whatever they kind of feel like they want to do. So after all of that and explaining which Pokemon I think will be in this game, how was Austin John wrong? Well, for starters, in one part of his video, he mentions that every Pokemon that can evolve with a Thunderstone is already confirmed to be in the game, which is not true. He even says that Electric, the thing between Tynamo and Electros, one of the most forgettable Pokemon that there is. So it's weird that he remembered it, but it's whatever. Electric is not confirmed to be in the game whatsoever, and personally, I don't think it will be. I don't see much of a need for in giant flying eel thing to be present in the UK. That doesn't make a ton of sense to me. It doesn't make a ton of sense to me to be present in Unova either, but I digress. So just this Pokemon not being present sort of makes his theory of if a Pokemon evolves using an item, it is in the game. I don't necessarily think that's true. I feel like there's a lot of Pokemon that evolve with items that are super irrelevant, or just don't sort of fit with the rest of the narrative of the game that are not going to be in the game. One of them being Electric. So I feel like a lot of the Pokemon that evolve with stones are going to get the axe. Personally, any chance that I can get to get rid of the elemental monkeys, I will gladly take, so they're gone. Another example would be that, by his logic, because the Sunstone is included, in my opinion, I think it will be because, in my opinion, we're going to have, Oddish, Gloom, and Vileplume in the game, and therefore must have Blossom. But because the Sunstone is included, that they're going to include Pokemon, everything that evolves in the Sunstone, which would be Cottonee, Petalil, Sunkern, and Helioptile. They already have Pokemon that's basically just a little tiny plant, little body with cotton head thing. So, like, why would they put Whimsicott in the game to sort of steal some of that Pokemon's thunder, So that doesn't make any sense. So immediately you can get rid of 4 Pokemon right there, because if Whimsicott and Cottonee go, so do Petalil and Illigan. He also argued that because there are some Pokemon-specific evolution items in the game, because in a part that he talked about previously, he includes Happiny, which uses the Oval Stone. He includes Gligar and Sneasel, which use the Razor Claw and Razor Fang to evolve. That because there's some Pokemon-specific evolution items in the game, that all of them must be in the game. And while at different points in my sort of breakdown, I included most of the Pokemon that use them, namely things like the Upgrade and Dubious Disc, the Sachet and Whipped Dream. Those Pokemon are already included in my countdown. But he includes the Deep Sea Scale and Deep Sea Tooth, which evolve Clamperl into Gorebyss and Huntail. I don't personally think that they will be in the game because there's no reason for them to be. And just because there's one Pokemon-specific evolution item in the game, that doesn't mean every single one of them is going to be in the game. He also includes every one of the fossil Pokemon in the game, which, as a paleontologist, obviously I'm all for. And the United Kingdom does have a really rich paleontological history, being that some of the first paleontologists were from there. Fun fact, the phrase "she sells seashells by the seashore" is about the first, major big-time female paleontologist selling fossil clams by the sea. However, I really don't think all of the fossil Pokemon are going to be in this game. I don't really see them putting some of the, more tropical ones like Anorith and Lileep, if a fossil Pokemon can be tropical. But I don't see Anorith, Lileep. I don't really see, Cranidos or Shieldon being in this game. I just don't think that they personally fit. I think they would overshadow what I think will be at least 2 new lines of fossil Pokemon in this game. So I don't think they would try to overshadow the new fossil Pokemon with all of the old ones too. He also adds in the rest of the Moonstone evolutions besides the ones from Generation 1, which I think the only remaining ones were Skitty to Delcatty and Munna to Musharna. However, those Pokemon are not popular. Nobody thinks, I will hate this game if Skitty is not in this game. I'm sure that's not actually true. I'm sure every Pokemon is somebody's favorite Pokemon, but, I don't hear people talk about how much they love Skitty and Delcatty or Munna and Musharna that often. So the odds of them making the cut, I think, are really slim. So overall, our estimate of how many returning Pokemon will be in Sword and Shield is fairly close. With my total of, we'll say at the top, 430 Pokemon, minus the 80 assumed new ones brings us to 350. His assumption was 340, so it's basically the same. I just think that some of his points just kind of miss the mark, whereas, if the Thunderstone is in the game, every Pokemon that evolves with the Thunderstone must be in the game. By his logic, every Pokemon that evolves using an item is in the game, and I don't necessarily think that's true. We have no reason to think that that's true, other than what he calls Pokemon logic, but since when has Pokemon literally ever made sense with anything they've ever done? So I think trying to lump a bunch of things in as Pokemon logic doesn't really work, in my opinion. But let me know your thoughts down below. Which Pokemon do you think will sort of fill in that filler spot of 22 to 32 Pokemon that we talked about toward the end? There's a lot of, I looked up wildlife in the UK just for fun. There's apparently a wild population of like wallabies that just casually live in the UK that were introduced from Australia. That's kind of neat. If Game Freak doesn't do something with those, I'm going to be really upset. So, like I said, let me know down in the comment section below what Pokemon you think will fill in that gap. If you think both Austin, John, and I are full of crap, let us know down below as well. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Pallet_U to keep up with all things Pokemon science. And as always, there's a time and place for everything.